and he's continued his recovery from his stroke. And we should point out, it is estimated a third of stroke victims experience depression. His wife, Giselle, in an email to supporters, writing in part, after what he's been through in the past year, there's probably no one who wanted to talk about his own health less than John. It's not easy for anyone to be open about mental health challenges, but I'm so proud of him asking for help and taking steps to get the care he needs. And while that may be true, it is also fair to ask, is it not, whether he can effectively continue serving as a U.S. Senator. We need to wait to see how he does, but at some point, we're going to have to ask whether Senator Fetterman can continue for the good of the people of Pennsylvania, his party, and arguably for his own well-being. Joining me now is Britt Crampsie. She is the former press secretary for the Pennsylvania Senate Democrats. Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, so he is an elected official. These kinds of questions illegitimate as far as you're concerned?
No, I think it's valuable to have a conversation about it. And I think it's really helpful that he's been so open sharing his struggle. There's incredible stigma surrounding mental health. And for him to be so open about seeking treatment for clinical depression, I think is going to be very helpful to a lot of people who are facing the same challenges and are maybe a little bit nervous about seeking care or are, scared of what their friends, family, community, neighbors, coworkers will think about it. He's really leading here. And I think that that's impressive and should be lauded.
But I think there are going to be some people who are going to say, how dare you even discuss that by even asking if he should step down? You are stigmatizing it, meaning referring to me by asking it, not you, that I am stigmatizing it by asking this question, and that it's an improper question to even ask because it is a health challenge. I mean, remember, Giselle Fetterman accused the media and others of being, quote, ableist. Do you remember this is after Dasha Burns, who's a reporter for NBC, had reported that he seemed to have difficulty communicating. Giselle Fetterman saying if this happened in a school, if this was a child that was ableist towards another child or teacher, there would have been issues stated, there would have been new training done. What's being done at the media after a reporter came out so ableist against a person, I'm shocked and appalled, sadly not surprised. I know there's so much to do, but it'd be great to see some accountability, to see some real change. She would also request an apology. I worry that we're going to have the same sort of finger pointing when these questions get asked, where people are going to say, oh, that's ableist to even ask that question.
I'm not here to cancel you or anybody else for asking this question. I think it's a really valuable conversation to have and to really move the conversation more toward equating your mental health with physical health. So Senator Bob Casey, our senior senator here from Pennsylvania, is currently battling cancer, and there haven't been the same questions about him stepping down. He's seeking care. I imagine some of it is going to be inpatient. Members of Congress have often sought inpatient care for their physical health. After Gabby Giffords was shot in Arizona, she was in and out of the hospital and didn't return to the House floor for 7 months. When Steve Scalise was shot, he was out for at least weeks, maybe several months. And that kind of treatment is considered very valid, and no one considers whether they should step down. So I think it's time we talk about mental health in the same way as physical health.
So that's fair. And so let me ask you then, as a follow-up question, is it fair to ask, and I'll just ask it rather than asking if it's fair to ask, is mental health different when it comes to being able to lead as a U.S. Senator? Is it different when someone is checking in for mental health, when not talking about stigmas, not talking about, broad characterizations of health, but specifically ability to do the job?
Yeah, I think at this point, we got to talk about how common mental health issues are, particularly depression. Last I saw data from last year, 1 in 10 Americans suffer from depression at some point in their life. And that means that likely you, or certainly somebody that you know, has suffered from depression. They may be your child's teacher, they may be your dentist, they may be your mail person. And you may not know what struggle they're going through, but they're still capable of doing their job. It's exceptionally treatable, especially if someone is willing to seek care.
Britt Crampsie, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.